You're listening to the Home Staging Show podcast. I'm your host, Cindy Lin. This is a show where we talk about all things real estate, home staging, and selling your home to live and to sell. Welcome back to season 7, and this is episode 1. Hey guys, welcome back to season 7, episode 1. I'm so excited to start this new season of the year with something new. And Happy New Year, by the way. If you have missed our newsletter or blog announcement, I'm trying this new format in the new year where I'm live broadcasting the interviews online with our guest experts. So what's happening is while we're recording it online, you can actually tune in and actually ask questions. You can now watch the podcast interviews online while we're recording. So we recorded 4 episodes so far, and there's one coming up this Sunday with Bobby McGrath on home staging business models, occupy homes, and consultations. There is a blog post on our blog that lists all the upcoming speakers or the guest experts that I'm interviewing. And then you can sign up accordingly for the webcast. I'm going to put that link in the show notes as well, so you can access that. So new information will be updated as I'm in the process of booking more guests for the show. So I'll be updating the blog as soon as I finalize more interviews. I also announce it on the podcast and also our email newsletter as well. If you want to sign up for a newsletter, you can do so by going to our website, stagemore.com, STAGED4MORE. And then also access the show notes that way. If you don't know how to access the show notes, it's very simple. Once you get to our website, you go to the menu and you click on podcast, and you will see all the upcoming all the shows that have just been recorded, as well as previous episodes, and you can access it that way. You can just click on the episode that you want. You can also go to stagemore.com/podcast. So this week, I'm also holding a free masterclass on marketing and booking clients because I get a lot of those questions from home stagers who've been in the business for a while and also home stagers who are just starting out and they don't know how to find their first job. So in this free online class, I'm going to go over strategies on how to map out your marketing plan. Marketing is a big component of our business, and it actually takes a lot of time. In our 6-figure floor plan business incubator course, we spent 3 weeks on this. There's a lot of worksheets I make my students do, and then to kind of figure out who their ideal clients are and who they are, what kind of business they want to run, etc., etc. So in this free masterclass online, I'm going to spend about an hour to go over all these details. So it's basically like a cliff notes for the 3 weeks. So I'm going to talk about how to build your marketing funnel and so stand out from a crowded marketplace. The free class runs through this Saturday. The last pre-recorded seminar that you can watch online, I think, is Saturday morning at your local time. You can also sign up for the class. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well. And on Saturday and Sunday, I'll be holding live office hours where you can ask all your questions about running a home staging business, anything you want, really. So if you're interested in that, please check out the show notes to sign up for those sessions. So lastly, the live business incubator class, the 6-figure floor plan, is starting up next Monday. So in this jam-packed online course, we're going to go over systems, contract, pricing, proposal, inventory, marketing, technology, and everything you need to start getting clients as well. I'm going to show you the behind the scenes of how I built my home staging business from the ground up, including all the worksheets, systems, scripts, and workflow that I've developed to build a book-solid home staging business. You're also going to be able to see my pricing, proposal, contracts, and basically every template I've created and used in my 6-figure home staging business. Now, because a lot of people have asked for this, I'm also created a self-study version. So it's the same exact course content, you just don't get the support, the live interaction, and the community. So if you're interested in either course formats, just go to our website, go to stagemore.com/6-figure-floor-plan. There's also a link for you on the show notes, so you can access that very easily. Another big new change for our season this year is that we actually have a show sponsor for this upcoming season, season 7. And I'm really excited about that because it's created by the stager I've known since I started my business. Her name is Pam Christensen, and she's also one of our guest expert on the show this season. She has built an incredible business. She does an incredible amount of huge volume, actually out of a very small warehouse. And she had just gotten the system down to a pat. And that's why I have her on the show as well, because not only her inventory system is incredible, I also love how organized she is, because she has a resource where she has family members that help her engineer the system that are able to use and test through their business. And that's why I feel comfortable recommending it and have her sponsor the show this season, because I don't want to really endorse anybody who's just going to offer money to me. I've turned down a lot of sponsorship opportunities. But Pam's program, because I know her personally and I know how great she is as a businesswoman, so I feel comfortable introducing her to you guys. For those of you who have inventory during vacant staging, even you're doing occupies and you have your own inventory, I really recommend you checking out Pam's episode, which is coming up either next one or the one after, because she is such a great expert on organization, on maintaining inventory, and also working with her team as well on her inventory. And she's shared a lot of really great, amazing insights on inventory management in her episode. So I highly recommend you to check her out. Even if you don't buy her system, which is actually something I wish I had when I had my own staging business, you should really just listen to her on how she approaches inventory, on how to purchase, on how to maintain it, and how to buy. Because I think one of the biggest things that you can put your business at risk is overspending. And inventory usually can be a really a really dangerous place for you to lose a lot of money on if you don't know how to buy properly. And that's why I really encourage you to check out her episode. And so her new company is called a Staging Assistant. So it's more than an inventory system. It manages your leads, your proposal, your clients, and also your stage houses on your desktop, tablet, or phone. With a Staging Assistant, you will know that what you own, where it is, and when it's returning quickly and easily. You can create your designs and packing lists from the comfort of your home so you can hit the ground running when you go into your warehouse. It's created by stagers, especially for stagers. It is the only tool you will need to manage your growing staging business. So for more information, you can visit stagingassistant.com. So Pam has been very generous. So her company offers 14-day free trial. But for our listeners, she's offering 30-day. So I'm going to put the information on our show notes. If you're interested, definitely check her out. So without further ado, I want to introduce our guest today. I'm really excited to bring Fred Berns onto the show. When I first started as a real estate agent before I became a stager, year one, I went to the NAR association. I'm sorry, not NAR. I went to the CAR, which is California Association of Realtors annual expo and conference. And Fred was one of the speakers. And I think he was able to recognize very early on how important it is for design professionals in terms of marketing and also differentiating yourself from the competitors. So I'm really excited. I've been following him throughout the years, and I'm really excited now he's opened up his business to home stagers as well, because I think he has really a lot of great things to say. And I actually did not know this, but now I know that it makes so much sense that Fred used to be a journalist. So I think he has a really great way of breaking down marketing to people. And that's why I subscribe to his blog, and I used to read a lot about his strategy working with interior designers. Because when I was a new stagers, I really studied on how to market and how to brand myself, because I started my business very young, when I was like 25. So I really did not have a lot of skills, like a lot of competitors that I had at the time, where they came from a corporate background or they had worked before. So they already brought in these knowledge that they had from the previous business and their professional careers. And so I really did not understand a lot, like on how business works, how money works, on marketing works. And because home staging is a lot of ways we have a lot of similarities with interior design professionals. So in the beginning of my business, I just subscribed to every single interior design blog that I could find and learn how to price and learn how to market myself that way. So let me introduce Fred really quickly. So as you haven't found out already, Fred Berns is one of the biggest names in the business of interior design. He's an award-winning coach. He also writes promotional copy, and he also is a professional speaker who trains and creates promotional materials for design professionals and real estate stagers worldwide. He helps them promote themselves more effectively and dramatically increase sales and profits, which is really, really important. I think one of the things that's really difficult for stagers, especially people who just started in the industry, and actually not just stagers, I think a lot of creative professionals as well, is understanding how sales work. A lot of times you may be booking a lot of projects, you might think you're making a lot of money, but if you're not controlling expenses very smartly, you're actually not making profits. So as any reasonable business owner, you need to understand how sales and profits work. Because these two things, even though they're related, they can work very differently depending on your expenses and your outgoing cash flow. And Fred's training and coaching sessions for interior designers, stagers, window fashion professionals, kitchen and bath specialists, and other professionals from Dallas to Dubai to focus on how they can double their sales, how to connect with better clients, and make a maximum marketing impact for no investment for our time and money. So Fred, who speaks at industry events and around the world, also creates marketing materials as well and social media and website copy for designers and stagers. Those materials include everything from promotional bios to articles for use online and in print. He presents sales and marketing programs at design centers, marts, and conferences worldwide. He was an EMC and presenter at the International Federation of Interior Architects and Designers in Dubai, UAE. In addition, he has been a featured speaker at the International Window Covering Expo, NeoCon events, the High Point Market, Surfaces Design Symposiums, Home and Design Expos, Furniture, Gift and Accessory Shows, and national conferences for such groups like ASID, NKBA, IFDA, and Decorating Den. Fred's blog, interiordesignbusiness.net, reaches thousands of design professionals around the world. He also regularly writes for a variety of design trade publications and also online outlets. His interior design business library includes a vast collection of books, video and audio programs, and other business building resources for the design industry. His resources covers topics ranging from setting and getting higher fees and overcoming prices objections to branding and million-dollar marketing on a shoestring budget. So this is why I'm very excited to have Fred on the show today. So without further ado, let's start the show. Why don't we get started? So I'm really curious, how did you get started in coaching?
Well, my journey began when I'm a former journalist. I was a journalist in Washington, D.C. I wrote a book called Sell Yourself, 501 Ways to Get Them to Buy From You. And I was speaking around the country promoting the book. And then 9/11 took place. And my career really tanked as an author and a coach. And I had to make it. In fact, I was speaking in New York City at the D&D building when the towers got hit, so you could see in the background from where I was speaking what was going on. Wow. But I lost a lot of business. I lost a lot of clients at that point, and I realized that I had to make a decision, and I realized that the importance of sticking to the interior design industry, which had been the most receptive to my message, which had interior designers had been the ones who were turned out in the biggest numbers at my presentations, and they bought the most books. So I decided to zero in on interior design back after 9/11. And as far as coaching is concerned, I began to realize as I worked with designers an interesting phenomenon, Cindy, and that is that I couldn't figure out how is it, and this is true with stagers as well, how is it that designers could work, so many designers could work so hard, yet so few earn top dollar? You know, why is it that so many designers struggle financially and so many stagers struggle financially? It's not as if they're not giving it putting in long hours, because they do. So that became my mission as a coach, to try to help design and staging professionals understand the importance of selling themselves as a way to become a lot more profitable. And so that's been my coaching program pretty much ever since.
That's really inspiring, and that's amazing. And that's a really good market pain point, I think. A lot of stagers do struggle, I think interior designers as well, on making profits, on making the ask. So in your experience in coaching designers, what are some of the biggest mistakes that they make? And when it comes to selling themselves and promoting themselves?
I think first and foremost, they undersell themselves. They take themselves for granted, and they don't really establish their value. Another big mistake that design professionals make is they don't tell their clients all that they can do. You know, a lot of there's in our industry, there's way too much one and done. In other words, a stager comes in, a designer comes in, does a project, and that's it. You know, they shake hands. Thanks very much. See you later. And there's so much money to be made in upselling and cross-selling and add-on selling, but designers and stagers in general don't do that because the clients are not aware of all that they do. And as I always tell my clients, I do a lot of copywriting for staging and design professionals, as I always tell them, it's not their fault that they don't know all that you can do. It's your fault because you have not promoted all your services and all your values. So I think that's a big mistake that a lot of professionals make, not telling their whole story, even on their website or in their social media sites. I always tell them you need to make a complete list of all that you do, all the service you provide, because let's face it, most people don't know what stagers do. Most people don't know all that designers do, and it's your job as a professional to share that information with them. And one last mistake I think they make is that they dwell on their don'ts. A lot of staging and design professionals dwell on their don'ts. By that I mean, when I'm writing a bio for a designer or a stager, they'll tell me, well, you know, I don't have a degree in staging. I wasn't certified in design. I'm not a member of ASID, or I'm not a member of RISA, whatever. And I tell them, I don't care what you don't have, and you shouldn't either. You should care what you do have. And so what I think it's really important is to become the world's foremost expert on what you can offer and what you do offer, and don't worry so much about what you don't have, or because that is of no importance whatsoever. So those are the key mistakes I think that design and staging professionals make when it comes to blowing their horns and tooting their flutes, so to speak.
I think that is such a great point. I remember in high school, I sold shoes for Nordstrom. That was my summer job. And one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Back in my darkest days, after 9/11, I took a job as a Nordstrom shoe salesman. But go ahead. What were you saying?
But one of the things that they always push is that for every shoe that client wants, you have to show them 2 different styles.
Yes. I remember that, right?
Yeah, so it's really about upselling, because they're always like, well, maybe they ask for a flat, but they might want something, you know, for the fall, something strappy, a heel that they can go out at night kind of thing. Yeah, so for every style, you have to pull 2 to 3 different styles. So for every pair of shoes, we have to pull 3 additional pair, because maybe they want a flat and you think, okay, so we want to upsell for another flat, but at a higher price point, because maybe they're like, well, we didn't even think about that, right? Like maybe they ask for patent leather and you're like, well, this crocodile leather is great and it's at a higher price point. So it's all about upselling. Yeah.
And it's important in whether you're selling shoes or whether you're selling staging services, it's important to know that they view you as the expert, as the skilled professional, and they need your advice and guidance. And it's not as if you are trying to impose items or services on them that they don't need. It's they need your help. And I think that a lot of designers and staging professionals leave a lot of money on the table because they don't offer this help. And I always tell my clients that when I'm coaching them is that what they really want you to do is take them by the hand and guide them down the path of how to stage their homes, how to design their homes, and tell them what to do next. I think it's important for a staging professional or a design professional to think of themselves as a billiards player, professional billiards player. The most successful professional billiards players are always setting up the next shot. You know, they don't just make one shot and sink one ball. They're always thinking of the next shot. And I think that should be the case with design and staging professionals as well. Think ahead. What additional services can you offer? What additional problems and pains can you help them overcome in the future? And that it's a win-win situation. It helps them and it helps you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree because I remember, I mean, with staging, for example, you have staged a house, the house is sold, but the new buyers coming in, they might want help with decorating their home or picking curtains or stuff like that. Those are all things that can get you in the door to get relationship established with a new client. Because a lot of times with staging, you have the same skill set translating into decorating a home or even
Oh, yeah.
designing project
Yeah.
management. So why not introduce yourself to the new buyers that are coming in? Because they're already seeing your work. They saw the staging, obviously they like it, so they bought the house. So it's a really important point that you're making is that people don't really tell the entire story of their career.
And I think when they fail to do that, they don't just do themselves a disservice; they do their clients a disservice because the clients once they know you and trust you, they want to work with you. They want to continue working with you. They don't want to go through the hassle all the time and the expense of finding new people to help them design their home after you've staged their previous home. They want to work with you, and again, I think if you're not offering the complete package, you are doing them a disservice. And
Yeah, I agree with that.
they want to partner with you. They really do.
Yeah, and one thing that you mentioned I thought was really interesting is that a lot of people tell you what they don't have. They focusing on what they don't have. So I see that as a mindset issue. Like, so how do you work with your clients to deal with that, to focus on what they really have and can offer the clients?
Well, I'm pretty good at that, if I may say, because I'm a former journalist. I'm good at asking questions. And I really, once we get past the don'ts, I really say let's put your career, let's put your business under a microscope, and let's dissect what you do. And let's talk about how you save your clients time, you save your clients money, you save your clients headaches, for one thing. Let's talk about your education background, maybe your previous career. A lot of stagers come from different backgrounds. Don't hide your background if you're a staging professional in your bio. Highlight your background. I mean, I was doing some copywriting work for a newbie stager in California, and she was saying, "Well, I don't really like to talk about my past because it doesn't really relate to my staging." So I said, "What do you do? What did you do?" She said, "Well, I was the international marketing director for HP, and I went around the country and went around the world. I mean, and worked." And I said, "Let's highlight that. And let's talk about the fact that you gained invaluable communication skills, problem-solving skills. You traveled the world. You got to know different design trends around the world, and that's what I mean. People really take themselves for granted." And in the process, I look at, I write a lot of bios for staging professionals. I look at the original bio and I tell people, you're cheating me because you're not telling me the whole story. You're not telling me all that you can do and all that you have done and all that you are doing now. And I think unless you do that, you are not really being truthful in describing yourself. So when it comes to talking about yourself, let's talk about your experience. Let's talk about your expertise. Let's talk about your credentials. Let's talk about awards you've won. Let's talk about where and how you've been published, perhaps. If you're new, talk to me about the kind of maybe some of the clients you've worked with early on here and what you've done for them, what kind of homes you've staged, and what kind of properties you've designed, et cetera. So there's always something to talk about. And, it's like a website, Cindy. It's a work in progress. Your bio and how you over time, you're going to get a much better portfolio. You're going to be able to put up much more impressive images on your website and on your social media sites. But at the beginning, at least, you have a story to tell, and you need to tell that story. And you certainly can, I think, impress people, even though you're new to the industry.
Yeah, no, I agree with that so much. Because everything that you're doing now is accumulation of what's happened in the past,
Sure.
Like even just talking to you for the past 10 minutes, I already can sense that you used to be a journalist, that you're really good at critical thinking, you're really great at asking questions. And those really benefit you, I think, as a coach as well, because one of the things with being journalist as well, it's you have to be very persistent. People are going to say no all the time. You can't be scared, even though you are.
You get to know a lot as a journalist.
Yeah. So I started working as a photographer now, and I get a lot of no's as well. But the thing is, I think my career as a stager really prepared me for that. Because in real estate, you really have to be really okay with no's, because people are going to tell you no all the time, especially in real estate. They can reject you because of pricing or whatever the issue it is. You just have to develop that kind of thick skin and then just keep moving forward and improve upon your technique, I think, each time.
I'm hearing a lot of no's right now. I'm doing a major survey of Architectural Digest top 100 designers. My major field of work in 2018 is to talk about the business practices and success habits of the most successful design professionals in the world.
Yeah.
And as I contact the press agents and the administrative assistants of a lot of these designers, a lot of them are saying, well, so-and-so is too busy and we don't really have the time and blah, 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 blah. And so it's a numbers game. And when I hear no, as Jack Canfield says, when you hear no, you should think next. I just move on to the next one, until I have enough people to interview.
Exactly. And then, so in your opinion, what makes good marketing?
I have a one-word answer for that, Cindy, and the word is pain. Pain. Speak to, talk about, text, tweet to your client's pain. By that I mean those stagers and design professionals who do the best job of talking the language of and solving the problems of their clients are most successful in their marketing. When you think of your clients, they have a lot of issues. In the case of designers, for example, their clients don't have much time. They're very stressed. They don't have the resources to know who to go to and where to go to furnish their homes. They don't have a clue how to get started. If it's a major remodel, they don't even know where to begin the process. In many cases, I know it can be a competitive thing. They feel as if they want to keep up with the Joneses, so they want to come up with something unique and one of a kind, and they feel as if in many cases their space is outdated and doesn't really reflect who they are and what they do. Maybe their lifestyles have changed, but they don't work anymore. My point is, everyone is in pain. And your job as a staging professional, your job as a design professional is to blog about that, address those pains in your blogs, address those pains in your tweets and your texts and all of your social media activity, write articles, do guest blogging, do podcasts, do YouTube videos, all geared to pinpointing the biggest challenges your clients face and coming up with some solutions on how they can overcome those challenges. And I say some solutions. I don't want you giving away the store. I don't want you giving so much information that they feel as if they don't need you face to face. But just kind of let them know that you can help them save time. You can help them save money. You can help them come up with unique, one-of-a-kind look for their space, and give them the idea that that if they work with you, you can really help them overcome the pain that that affects them so much.
I love that, because what we do is really problem solving.
Yeah.
So that's really important.
I think staging professionals are in the pain business. When you think about the highest paid professionals, I'll put you on the spot here, Cindy. Who do you think are the highest paid salaried professionals in America right now? And I'm not talking about professional athletes or entertainers. The highest paid salaried professionals.
Oh, gosh. The only people I can really think are entertainers, but they're not on a salary, really.
Right.
I have no idea. CEOs, basically? Top corporate CEOs?
Well, the highest paid salaried professionals in America are physicians and surgeons. And surgeons. Because think about it, people will pay any price to get their pain resolved. When you're, God forbid, if you break a leg and you're lying on the operating table, you don't look up at the surgeon and say, before you start, I'm wondering if you can give me a better price on the surgery you're about to give me, because I've been looking around and I see there's some lower price surgeons. No, you just want to get that pain resolved. You want to be well again. And that's the point, I think that design professionals and real estate professionals should think of themselves as doctors, and think of themselves as problem solvers and people who can help their clients overcome the pain that they're in. And then if they approach their marketing from that viewpoint, from that standpoint, and their blogging and their social media activity from that standpoint, they'll be a lot more successful.
I agree with that. And people often want the best one, right? They want the best surgeon to remove their pain, not some, doctor in the alleyway kind of thing.
Right.
So it's really establishing your credibility, I think, as a professional.
And
that's really going to help to push you.
That's a very good point. And the reality of the situation is it's never been easier to get elsewhere the staging and design services you offer. But the one thing that your clients can't get elsewhere is you. And that's why it is so critically essential for you to differentiate yourself by really promoting what makes you different. And that's the crux of good marketing. And as we approach, now that we're in 2018, I think the marketing mindset of all the staging professionals and design professionals out there should be, what makes me different? What makes me different from, if you Google stagers or designers in Denver, I'm based in Colorado here, you'll come up in a nanosecond with millions of entries, millions of listings. So again, it's never been easier to get these services elsewhere. So you really have to sell yourself in a way that makes you stand out. And that I'll be a little bit ahead of myself, but that gets me to the $1 million marketing word, the word that every staging professional and every design professional should incorporate into his or her victory vocabulary. And that word is only. Are you the only staging professional who offers a certain type of service in your area? Are you the area's only staging professional who offers certain types of products, perhaps? Are you the only staging professional who focuses on a certain client niche? Tell me what only you do, and I will buy only from you. So only is the word that every one of our listeners and viewers should really become comfortable with. And it's not easy necessarily to come up with your only phrase, but once you do, you are unstoppable.
That's amazing. I love that. I think one of the struggle a lot of people have is about selling themselves because they feel maybe marketing is sleazy. They don't like to talk about themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So how do you work with your clients to overcome that obstacle?
I try to reframe what marketing and self-promotion is. And I tell people to think of it as a client education. Again, when there's so much noise in the marketplace, when there's so much competition out there, you need to educate your prospects and your clients as to what makes you different to make it easier for them to choose. So by promoting yourself, you're doing them a service. You are educating them as to what you offer that others don't, and therefore it helps them in this selection process. So it's not about you bragging. A lot of I know stagers equate self-promotion with bragging. It's about client education, prospect education, letting people know what you bring to the table, how you can help them overcome this pain that we talked about a few minutes ago.
That's great. I love that. And then what are some of the ways that stagers can promote themselves effectively?
Well, I made a little list here, knowing that that was one of the questions we're going to talk about. First of all, here's the good news, Cindy. I have some good news. The marketing that stagers can do costs the least. Some of the most powerful promotion stagers can do cost nothing at all. You can do $1 million marketing as a stager on a shoestring budget if you follow some certain guidelines. And let me just share some of these with you here. Create a killer commercial. By that I mean, again, include your only. I'm the only stager in my area who, and that adds magic to your marketing message. That's really effective, and that belongs not just on your website, not just in your social media sites, but on your your email signature and in your voicemail. That only phrase. Use free publicity. Become a guest blogger. As a former journalist, I can tell you that free publicity is the best advertising that stagers can't buy. And there's so many opportunities to get free publicity now. News releases. Every time you sign a new contract with a client, every time you celebrate a new year anniversary in your business, every time you win some kind of award, that is news. That's the kind of news that online and old-fashioned print publications will run all the time. So news releases and articles are very important, and guest blog posts as well. And understand, I was a journalist for 25 years. I can tell you they need you more than you need them. In other words, if I'm a real estate editor for some local online outlet or some local publication, every day and every month and every year, I'm trying to fill space and feature information that's valuable to my readers or to my viewers or whatever. And so they are looking for experts to quote and on a regular basis. So savvy stagers that I work with are contacting media outlets that are important to their marketplace and offering to be a resource to those reporters, to those bloggers, to those industry influencers. Every time they're going to write something or do a podcast or something and they need information, these stagers offer their services. And as a consequence, they get quoted and promoted all the time. And it doesn't cost them a penny by offering themselves as a resource. Speaking up, I know speaking is not something a lot of stagers are comfortable with necessarily, but I want to tell you that seminars and workshops and classes are gold. And so many design professionals I know over the years have been so successful with this, even though they're not polished presenters. And in some cases, it's the only marketing they do. And a quick story here. Years ago, I was working with a design professional here in Denver, and I kept urging her to do a seminar. And I said, you ought to speak up. You ought to give a program. It's going to be great. And she said, no, I'm really not very comfortable. I'm not a very good speaker. I just don't want to do that. And I kept at it, over and over again. I said, Kathy, you got to do it. You got to give a little presentation. You'll be amazed. And finally, maybe just to get me off the phone, she said, okay, I'll do it. So she, at the showroom of one of her suppliers, she did a program. I think it was on something like Remodeling 101 or some simple thing. And maybe about 6 people showed up, and I was one of them. And Cindy, it was a total disaster. I mean, at one point she dropped her PowerPoint. She lost her notes. She was sweating, and she was visibly uncomfortable. And I thought to myself afterwards, what have I done? What have I subjected this poor woman to? Well, it turns out one of those 5 other people in the audience ended up giving her $25,000 in remodeling business after that presentation. So the point of all this is people don't come to your seminars or workshops to critique your speaking style. They come to get your information and ultimately to hire you. So speaking is a great way to generate business, especially when you're starting out as a stager. I think it's really good. Your website. Websites have been kind of discredited in recent years because people are so focused on social media, but your website is still your online address. And so I suggest adding wow to your website, making it timely, topical, and interactive. Have a killer bio on there. We'll talk a little bit later about killer bios, and really make that look the part of a successful staging professional on your website, and you'll really connect well with them. Make your network. Networking is critical. Face-to-face first, and then social media, of course, after that. But you always want to try to generate those face-to-face contacts when you can. Partner in your promotions. Buddy up with vendors, suppliers, and others with deeper databases and pockets than yours. You don't have to go it alone, certainly. And there's all sorts of ways for you to align with allied professionals as you promote your staging service or your design services. And 2 others here. One is to build your database. It's really important to pump up your pipeline. I recommend to stagers that they make 10 contacts a day. 10 contacts a day to those they seek to influence, those they need to know. These can be emails, they can be texts, they can be phone calls. Phone calls are best, I believe. But when you build up that kind of activity, when you are pumping up your pipeline with that kind of regularity, you will definitely get business. And this is a good time to do that. And it can be something as simple as just checking in with clients who you worked with 5 years ago. How you doing? What's going on? How's the kitchen working for you? Whatever. But you will find that is a great way to build your business. And finally, the last thing is get your foot in their door, and that's has to do with what I call an introductory program. It's a lot easier for a client to say yes to a 30-minute or 45-minute in-home consultation than it is for a $25,000 remodeling job. And so what I suggest to professionals is they offer some kind of introductory consultation program. It can be paid or not. But, for example, one of the most successful designers I know in America offers a kitchen conversation. She goes in for 30 minutes and gives some ideas for your kitchen. And in the process, she generates so many full-service jobs, so many big projects from that 30-minute consultation that that's the only marketing she has to do. So those are an example of just some of the many ways that you can make a big splash for little cash.
That's amazing. I love it. Can you talk a little bit more about bio? I'm really intrigued because that's not a marketing tip that I often hear about, but apparently it's very, very important because it really does help to sell you and explain what your services are.
Your bio on your website, on your house site, and your social media is your single most important and essential personal promotion tool as a staging professional or a design professional. This is what tells your story. This does the heavy lifting. No one wants to go around and tell people how great they are, but their bio, their online bio, is what does it for them. And this is where you share your experience, your expertise, the awards you've won, the types of clients you work with, the services you offer. This is a great tool for doing that. And it can and will get you bigger projects from better clients. And I want to give you I want to read for you a bio that I wrote to give you an idea of what you can say in a bio. This is from Margaret Geer, who's a Chicago-based stager.
Oh, yeah.
You know Margaret.
Yes.
She's the rock star in our industry. And it's pretty long. It's about 6 paragraphs, but I think it's important to hear this so you can understand the value of a bio. And then I'm going to share with you a couple of examples of really bad stager bios, and I'll let you make the comparison. So this is the bio I wrote for Margaret. Margaret Geer, one of America's foremost authorities and leaders in the real estate staging industry, is the founder of one of its most extraordinary companies. Margaret, an award-winning professional, has designed and merchandised thousands of resale properties in Chicago's western suburbs. Her company, Chicagoland Home Staging, specializes in helping realtors sell more homes more quickly for more money. And Margaret and her team have been featured in national media ranging from the Wall Street Journal to ABC News to the Chicago Tribune. She is known for the exceptional customer service she provides home sellers. They use words like outstanding, gifted, and talented, creative expertise, an amazing stager, and design consultant to describe her. One realtor characterizes her as a miracle worker who can transform ordinary and drab into spectacular and vibrant. Margaret, a mentor to home stagers nationwide and a speaker at an upcoming industry conference, is considered a pioneer and visionary in her field. She was among the first members of the Real Estate Staging Association, RESA, and later founded its Chicago chapter. She has been recognized by RESA as one of the nation's top 10 professional home stagers of the year and as Professional Stager of the Year Midwest. In addition, her company has been honored as a Home Staging Team of the Year. In the final paragraph, Margaret's rise to the top of the real estate staging industry is all the more remarkable considering she had no formal training in it. She got involved in the industry after a highly successful career as a full-service interior designer, providing everything from project management to custom window treatments. Earlier, she studied interior architecture at the Harrington Institute of Interior Design. So that is Margaret's story, and I think our viewers and listeners should use that as a model to follow when it comes to writing their bios, because it's such an important thing. Now I'm just going to read the opening paragraph of 4 or 5 bios that I've seen among stagers, and I think you'll be able to tell the difference. I'll just go down the list. So one stager from Napa, California, begins her bio like this. I believe that great design is transformative and democratic. You can live a beautiful lifestyle regardless of your budget. I love listening to your dreams for your home, hearing about your lifestyle, and creating a design that's uniquely yours. That's the first paragraph of her bio. And as you can imagine, that hasn't been too successful for her. Example number 2, also from California, Custer County, California. Hi, I am Sonny S. Hancock, CID, owner of Sonny and Chair Interiors. I've been in love with decorating interiors for as long as I can remember. I spent my youth helping my mother rearrange and redecorate our small but quaint apartment. She was a single mom on a tight budget, but she always managed to make whatever we have, wherever we lived, a home. Example 3. Always a few. This is a design professional and staging professional from Illinois. Always a few steps ahead, Julia launched her business in 1999 when room makeovers, home staging, and HGTV was in its infancy. And this is 2018. When we're talking about 1999 and the opening of our bios, we got a problem. And the last example is from a New York stager. I've been interested in organizational systems and interior design my entire life. I began my career as a licensed clinical psychotherapist and later found my true calling as an organizing consultant and home stager. So there's the good, bad, and the ugly. You can see the difference in Margaret's bio, I think, and the lead paragraphs of some of these other bios I have that I've seen in the home staging industry. So this is really this is by far your most valuable and versatile and vital marketing tool as a staging professional. You don't want to mess with this. You want to get it right or hire someone to do it for you. And I was going to mention that I offer a coaching session on how people can really create their own killer bio. It's called a bio briefing, and it's a 30-minute session. And if people are interested in learning more about the bio briefing, they should go to biobriefing.com. That's BIOBRIEFING.com. And you can learn more about the 30-minute session that I offer to help you create the kind of killer bio that Margaret Geer has there.
Well, that's really great. I think one of the things with Margaret's bio is really it has more pow. It really describes her credentials very well. It really talks about her experience and the clients that she's worked with. Now, Margaret has a very successful business. She definitely works with a wide range of clients, specifically with higher end clients. So if stagers want to approach to a higher end and a higher caliber clientele, what suggestions you have to help them reach to that for that higher potential?
It's essential that you look and sound and charge the part of a high-end stager if you're looking for high-end clients. To speak their language, to looking the part is adding wow to your website, having a killer bio on that website and in your social media sites. Charging the part, I think you should charge top dollar for your services, because when you think about it, high-end clients are used to paying top dollar for top quality services. That's the world in which they travel. And if you come in there with a surprisingly low fee for your initial consultation, they won't get it. I mean, they'll think to themselves, if he or she is so good, why are they so cheap? What are they not telling me? So I think charging the part is really important, and sounding the part. I think it's really important to talk, to promote yourself, to talk about the kind of high-end clients you have, to talk about your understanding of the problems they have. Even if you don't have a lot of clients at this point, who would you consider high-end? Familiarize yourself with some of the biggest issues facing those homeowners that you'd like to work with. What are their biggest pains, and then address those in your marketing and in your conversations, so that people get the idea that you speak their language. You've been there, done that. And again, if you're a new stager, maybe it would help you to play up the fact that you have a background working, say, for a Fortune 500 company. And therefore, you speak the language of high-end executives. So, you don't have a lot of staging experience to talk about, but you can talk about the fact that you've been in their world. You understand what their issues are. You understand how busy they are, et cetera. And now you can help them with their staging. So looking, acting, and sounding the part of a high-end stager, even if you're not there yet, is critical for you to moving to the next step in your career.
I think that's a really great point. And I think one of the really great points you brought up is pricing. I think a lot of people are afraid to charge their worth. So what are some of the strategies that people can use to make sure they are charging what they're supposed to be charging in the marketplace, but at the same time make them happy as well?
This is a tough one. And I get this question all the time when I go around the country speaking to and coaching home staging professionals and design professionals. I think you have to play up your credentials, attach value to yourself. That's really important as the first step in the process. You have to kind of decide your own budgetary needs, what kind of money you need to live the kind of lifestyle you want. Maybe even attach an hourly value to your services, how much you want to make per hour, and then just have at it, go for it. I mean, if you talk to 500 staging professionals, you will get 500 different permutations on how they charge for your services. Same thing with designers. Some designers charge by the hour, some designers charge flat fees, some charge cost plus. There is no right way or wrong way to do this. I think you need to figure out what it is the kind of money you need to make, and then charge accordingly. And some of the most financially successful professionals I know totally ignore the B word, the budget word, and I think this is a strategy for success. So many staging and design professionals spend so much time trying to pin down their prospects to some kind of arbitrary random figure as to how much they want to invest in this in staging their homes, or how much they want to invest in designing or remodeling their homes. And these high-end successful professionals feel as if most people don't have a clue. When it comes to coming with a budget, few people really know what their budget for staging their home is, or their budget is for designing their home. So their attitude is that they save the best for first. You heard the old expression, save the best for last. These very successful professionals save the best for first. They talk about their biggest design and biggest and most expensive design and staging projects for services first, and as a way to educate their prospects as to the possibilities. And then by doing so, then their clients can decide what they can and can't afford, And this, Cindy, it reminds me of a survey I did for Hunter Douglas. Years ago, Hunter Douglas had a product called Luminet Privacy Shears. It was a vertical blinds, and they were the highest priced product that Hunter Douglas sold at the time. But the company was perplexed by the fact that only a very, very small number of dealers around North America were selling these luminettes. So everyone else was really having a tough time trying to move this product. And so they had me interview the top 3 dozen or 4 dozen dealers of Luminet privacy shears. And I found that, they were in markets big and small. Some of these people were very experienced. Some of them were just starting out, but they had certain common denominators for success. One of them is that they always presented luminettes first. They always offered this product first because it was the best product they had. They wanted to offer their clients the top of the line thing. And in their showrooms, they always displayed these luminet window treatments in the front of the showroom. So it really exposed them to people coming into their showroom. And this was became their modus operandi to really stress the importance of Luminet privacy shears. And as a result, they were selling lots of them. And the leading motorization vendor in the company, the one who was selling the most motorized Luminet and other products for Hunter Douglas, never even talked about any other alternatives. They only offered these in their discussions with clients, and as a result, they ended up selling a lot of them. So it's thinking big, it's aiming high, it's showing your best stuff, and people may say no, but once they are exposed to information about your best services, your biggest packages, they'll be a lot more inclined to at least buy some of these, and it turns out to be a much more successful process. So it's a mindset, and it has to do with self-promotion. It has to do with confidence in your product and in yourself. It's not easy to come to, but why the heck not? Why struggle financially when you can be very successful by offering some more advanced selling strategies and approaches?
I think that is a great story. A lot of it's about branding and positioning as well. I see that in our chat box. Bobby McGrath commented, she says that your price is your brand. And I think that is very true as well. It really has to do with positioning and also educating the clients. I think that's a really good takeaway from that story. It's that you really have to teach the client almost like what you do and what are some of the things that you can do for them to resolve their pain.
And that it all gets back to pain. Again, if you can identify those high-end client pains and address those high-end client pains, it doesn't matter what you charge, Yeah. And you can establish that again in your bio. And that's why I think your bio is your number one price justifier, fee and price justifier. And when you have a killer bio, one of the great ways to use it is, let's say you meet a high-end client at some kind of networking event or social event, and you set up an appointment. And what I always recommend to stagers is they send an email saying, "Dear so-and-so, looking forward to our appointment at 10 o'clock next Thursday. I've attached some background information you'll find useful." And the background information that you send along with this email is this killer bio, which promotes you as the star that you are. And so by the time you show up for this appointment, they are already impressed. They're already sold on you. They already know that you're a high-end, successful professional. And that cold call becomes a warm call, in effect. So establishing your specialness in your marketing copy, as well as face-to-face, is really the key to getting those higher fees.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And that's why I think bio could be such an important tool in differentiating yourself from the marketplace. And I often feel like with price rejection with the clients, a lot of time it's because we didn't educate them enough.
Yeah.
What are some of the strategies that you may have for your clients when it comes to pricing objections from their clients?
Well, first of all, Cindy, I want to point out that I think most home stagers would rather crawl on hands and knees along California 1 than face price objections. I think they'd rather swallow formaldehyde than face price objections. And I don't get it. I don't get it, because price objections are a buying signal. Your clients and prospects have to be at least somewhat interested in your staging services, or they wouldn't even ask about price. Wouldn't even come up in the conversation. And do you know that your chances of closing a sale are 30% higher when at least some price objections are raised? Because that indicates that they're interested if they're discussing price at all with you, as opposed to saying, "See ya, nice knowing you." Harry Beckwith wrote a book called "Selling Invisible," in which he had a statistic that if you are not facing price objections, at least I think he said 2 out of every 5 times, your prices are probably too low. When someone understand when someone raises a price objection, that basically they're saying you may not be a priority right now. So it's your job to educate them as why your staging services should be a priority right now. One great strategy, I think, is an apples to apples comparison. Make sure that they are comparing all that you do with all that your lower price competitors do, and make sure that what they've heard from the lower price competitors has been expressed in writing, so they can make a fair comparison. When they say you're too expensive, too expensive compared to what? Too expensive compared to whom? Knowing their pricing parameters is really essential in this process. I like the feel, felt, found price objection strategy, where you say, "Well, Cindy, I know how you feel. $300 for a consultation is expensive. Other clients have found that felt that too, but they have found that by investing in my services, they ended up selling their homes a lot quicker for more money." Feel, felt, found. So, and finally, I guess the fabulous fallback would be, if all else fails, if these prospects are trying to beat you up on prices, Cindy, I would say something like, I have no qualms with those competitors of mine who charge less than I do, because they alone know what the value of their service is worth. So I call it the fabulous fallback, and it's a way to maintain your price integrity. But bottom line is price objections are a good thing. They indicate some interest, and you need to get them talking in specifics as opposed to being afraid or cutting your prices. 90% of design professionals offer to lower their price before they're asked to do so. I saw that statistic, and there's a clinical word for that. I think the word is stupid, is what I would use. You have a valuable service. You're a unique, one-of-a-kind staging professional. You just need to communicate your value in a way that helps them understand that you can solve their pain and help them be more successful in what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. And I know you have this saying with your clients that stagers need to reintroduce themselves to the marketplace. What do you usually mean by that?
Your clients and your prospects do not know all that you do. Maybe you worked for them years ago and you staged a room or gave them some advice on an old home or something. I think even the most experienced stagers and design professionals each year should send out a letter of what I call reintroducing themselves to the marketplace. Talking about and this is a great time to do it, by the way, the beginning of the year, but talking about all the new and exciting things happening at your design firm or staging firm. Talk about maybe you're going to be working with more vendors, or you've added staff, or you're introducing a new blog, or you've updated your social media sites or whatever. And these things may or may not be new. These are things you may have done in the past year or something, but you're rolling this out as a way to show your prospects and clients all the ways that you've enhanced your service to them. A lot of my clients in what I call this January letter will use this letter at the very end to raise their prices, to talk about a price increase. But the whole purpose of this is to talk about the full range of services you're offering. You know, whether or not you've been a full service designer up till now, this is something you want to announce in your January letter, you know, that you're expanding your business, become a full service designer. You're going to be offering everything from project management and space planning to color consultation and kitchen and bath design. Maybe you've been doing this for 5 years, but the point is you want to get this in front of clients, knowing that chances are they probably don't know all that you can do. So even if you've been in this business for 25 years, it is essential on a regular basis to reintroduce yourself to the marketplace, get back in front of people, especially former clients, and remind them of the fact that you can help them in many ways beyond the single way you helped them in the past.
That is such a great strategy. I love that. And then I have a question about bio, actually. Do you recommend refreshing your bio as well? And if so, how often should you refresh your bio?
Well, by all means. Again, it's a work in progress. You're going to get new, higher prestige clients. You're going to be adding services along the way. So this is something you always want to be updating, just like your portfolio on your website. And I think that one thing I didn't mention, every time you are communicating with prospects or clients or media or whatever, I feel it's important you attach a copy of your latest, greatest bio. This is a way to educate them and get to help them establish or understand all that you bring to the table. So an updated bio is a tool that you want to be getting in the hands of as many people as possible. And one of the things that when I write a bio for clients, one of the things I suggest they do is include it in their email signature so that people can immediately link to their bio every time they get an email from you. And again, because this is your most valuable marketing tool, I want them to see this. I want them to appreciate all that you bring to the table. And by reviewing your bio, they will be able to do that.
That's very cool. And I know you also give a program titled Method of the Masters, which you mentioned on the show right now. And what are some of the top sales and marketing strategies that these successful professionals have done?
Okay, well, let me go to my notes for this one once again. Very simple. And I think what you'll as you listen to these 7 simple strategies, you may say to yourself, well, this isn't rocket science. This isn't so special. The point is they're doing them, and a lot of our viewers and listeners are not, and that's why they're successful where they are. One of them is pump up the power of your pipeline. Again, make 10 contacts, 10 calls, 10 texts or emails a day to those people who need to know you and who you need to know. So pump up your pipeline is strategy number 1. A second method of the masters, and what's interesting about these most successful staging and design professionals around the world is they run their business in a gazillion different ways. And they're in markets large and small, and they have all sorts of different clients and backgrounds, et cetera. But these are the common denominators I've discovered so far of success. The second one is a topic we've talked about, probe for pain. Really find out what really hurts. What are their biggest challenges? Because that comes up later when you're closing the sale, and the way these masters do it, they really find out what their biggest issues are. And then when it comes time to quoting their price, which they don't do until the end, they say, okay, well, let me review. So you're saying that you feel as if the kitchen is outdated, and now that you're an empty nester, you want to do more entertaining, and it's dark and closed off, and you're saying this is really a cause for concern, and you're saying that you're very frustrated because you're embarrassed to bring people to your home, or you're saying that now that you're staging your home, you don't know where to begin. So you remind them of their pain. And in the process, and then when it comes to closing the sale down the way you say, so how committed are you, Cindy, to overcoming these issues we just talked about? Are we just kicking the tires here, or are you seriously interested in overcoming these challenges? And 99% of the time, they say, well, we're very committed. This is really, this is keeping us up at night. This is causing my spouse and I to fight on a regular basis or whatever. This is a big concern. And then you quote your price. And then if you get that pushback, then you say, well, let me ask you, Cindy, what would it cost you if you didn't move ahead with me? What would it cost you in terms of aggravation and stress and frustration and all the rest if we didn't work together? So those two things, both related to pain, are effective ways to close the sale at the end. I know a lot of staging professionals have trouble sealing the deal, so to speak. But if you close on cost and commitment, that really makes it easier. So probing for pain is the second of the 7 methods of the masters. Number three I just mentioned is the closing on commitment and cost. So we just talked about that. So that's the next one. Number 4 is turning price objections into opportunities. Realizing, we talked about this a few minutes ago, but realizing that price objections are a buying signal. Make sure that they're making apples to apples comparisons. Make sure that you get their pricing parameters, and really use this as a way to convince them to work with you. Number 5 is playing billiards, setting up the next shot. Always going to an appointment, always going with a contact with a client with a proposal for the next step. Once you're completing the staging process, talk about what my clients typically, once I stage their homes, like to move ahead with this. Would like me to consult with them on their new home or whatever. But always have a next step. Because this is the honeymoon period. You've just staged their home. They love you to death. They're excited, and they want you again to take them by the hand, lead them down the path, and help them in additional ways. So always have that next step. Number 6, really important, is persist. And by that I mean the most financially successful designers and stagers and kitchen and bath professionals and all the others in our industry, the ones after 25 years, the most successful ones are just the most stubborn. I'm really convinced. They don't know. They get to know no, and they think of it as next. They just never give up. So many stagers, and this is such a tragedy. There's so much turnover in our industry, and it's sad to me that this happens. But so many stagers give up just before they're about to close the big deal. They just quit and they give up. But again, never give up. Never, ever give up, and keep on and fighting, and keep on going. And Thomas Watson, the former chairman of IBM, said the secret of success is to fail more. Because what is failure? How do you define failure? It's just the only, as far as I'm concerned, the only way for a stager to fail is to not try. That's failure. If you're trying, if you're giving your best shot, if you're doing all the marketing you should, and you're making all the contacts, pumping up the pipeline, and things aren't working, as far as I'm concerned, you're a hero. You're doing the right stuff, and your luck's going to change. And finally, the last and most important, I've saved the best for last when it comes to methods of the masters, is to sell yourself. And let me share an observation after 25, nearly 30 years as a coach and copywriter in the staging and design industry. The most financially successful staging and design professionals by far are not necessarily the best staging and design professionals. They haven't won the most awards necessarily. They don't have the most certifications. They haven't been published the most places. The most financially successful design and staging professionals are simply the best self-promoters, the best self-salesmen, the best saleswomen, ones who realize that first and foremost, they're not selling their staging services or products. First and foremost, they are selling themselves. Maybe this is not right, and maybe this is not fair, but this is fact, that self-promotion is the key to your success as a staging professional in 2018. There's just too much competition out there. There's too many buying alternatives for your prospects and clients. You've got to be able to sell yourself. You have to be able to define your only. You have to have a bio that isn't just good, but just blows them away, knocks their socks off. So those are the 7 common denominators of the masters that I've been able to find out. I may have some more after my year of doing research with the Architectural Digest top 100 designers, but right now these are the 7 I've come up with.
That's amazing. So before our last question, I want you to tell our audience, where can they find you and what programs are you offering right now?
Okay, so As far as my website, it's interiordesignbusiness.net. Interiordesignbusiness.net is my website. You'll see it. If you like the kind of marketing and sales strategies we've talked about, you'll love the blog on my website, because this is what I do on a regular basis. If you are interested in coming up with a bio that really spells out your specialness, that establishes your expertise, that communicates your credibility, please check out biobriefing.com. BIOBRIEFING.com describes this 30-minute session where we really put your business under a microscope, your career under a microscope, and come up with some ideas on how you can craft a bio. I certainly can write your bio as well. So that's an alternative. My phone number here in Colorado is 303-589-3013. Once again, that's 303-589-3013 is my phone direct line. I speak around the country on a regular basis. Be speaking at the Kitchen and Bath Show next week, and we'll be speaking at the International Association of Home Staging Professionals coming up later this year, and a number of things. So if you're in the neighborhood, I'd love to meet you and talk to you and see how we might be able to work together as well. So that's the basic contact information. InteriorDesignBusiness.net, phone number 303-589-3013, and again, biobriefing.com is a good place to go if you want to get some coaching on your bio.
That's great. I'm going to put those on the show notes as well, so people can directly just click on the link and then find you. That's amazing. And so my last question for you, what is the number one tip that you'll give to stagers when it comes to self-promotion?
Understand a harsh reality, a couple of harsh realities. Number one, once upon a time, if you had a good portfolio, it would sell you. The images would sell you, and that's all you would have to count on. Pretty pictures on your website would be all you would need to be a success in staging or design. Those days are long gone, because every decent stager and every decent designer has wonderful pictures on their websites and their house sites and in social media. I mean, look at House. House has billions of images of pretty pictures. So that's one reality. Number two, and this is some tough love, I guess. Again, understand that it's never been easier to buy elsewhere, to get elsewhere the design and staging services you offer. So the one thing they can't get elsewhere is you, and you have to realize the importance, the power of the personal sale. You have to realize the importance of creating a killer bio, of establishing your value, of talking about all the services you offer, not just some, but all of your services. And think of yourself, I guess, Cindy, my parting words would be this: think of yourself as the CEO and the marketing director of your own personal corporation. I don't care who signs your checks. I don't care who you work for. You are your own CEO. And as a result, you've got to be able to sell yourself more effectively almost than the products and services that you sell.
That's great. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. You were absolutely amazing. I mean, the tips are just phenomenal. I'm sure our listeners and our audience are benefiting so much just by listening to your advice.
Well, thank you, Cindy. It's been I've enjoyed our discussion, and I wish you and the rest of the audience the best of luck in 2018 in all your endeavors.
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. So that's it for the show today. I hope you really enjoyed the interview and had a lot of good strategies moving forward with your marketing. Again, if you want to help and support the show, there are 3 ways to do so. You can leave a review and ratings on iTunes. You can share the show on social media, and you can also donate to support the hosting costs for the website and the podcast. You can make a donation through the show notes or on the sidebar of our blog site. And that's it for the show. And don't forget to check out Staging Assistant, who is kindly sponsoring the show this season. The Staging Assistant is more than an inventory system. It manages your leads, your proposal, your clients, and your stage houses on your desktop, tablet, or phone. With the Staging Assistant, you will know what you own, where it is, and where it's returning, and when it's returning quickly and easily. Create your design and packing list from the comfort of your own home so you can hit the ground running when you go into your warehouse. Created by stagers, specifically for stagers, is the only tool you'll ever need to manage your growing staging business. For more information, visit stagingassistant.com. So that's it. Have a wonderful week and happy staging.